Hi, everyone. I'm Peter Lemieux. I'm with Swing Batter under the banner of Batter Sports, and I am going to do what we call rounding third. These are baseball stories with meanings. Our story today involves baseball fans. So let me tell you who I'm talking to. You have a devotion and a love for a particular team, and that's your team. It doesn't matter where you live or whatever. That's always been your team. It's going to be your team. And every year you hope for the best for your team. And in your wildest dreams, you even think about that they may make it to the World Series or perhaps even win it. Of course, sports being what it is, most years that doesn't happen. And you end the year, they might have had a good year, but they're still not champions, or worse. I want to talk about the worst. Perhaps one of the most devastating experiences a fan can have is to have your team right there. They're going to do the impossible. They're going to win it all. And in fact, it looks like they've got it won, but they don't do it. The devastation of a loss, it's said, lasts much longer than the joy of a victory. So what I've done is I've selected the 5 most devastating losses that I could find. I understand, and I know you folks all do too, for the people who lost, there's another side who went crazy with joy that they won. But we'll let those people have their joy. I want to address those people who had their hearts broken and you can't get over it. No matter what, when this comes up, it just says, oh, the worst day of my life. So my top 5 in order, starting with number 5, is in 2004. The New York Yankees were destroying the Boston Red Sox. They were ahead in the American League Championship Series 3-0, and it was just a matter of closing it out. And people remember Game 4, but it wasn't really that heartbreaking because the Yankees were already up 3-0. But the Yankees had a lead going into the 9th inning. A walk, and then Davy Roberts' famous steal of second, followed by a single, tied the game. And in the 12th inning, Big Papi hits a home run for the Red Sox, and the Yankees had that game in the 9th, but they leave with a loss. No big deal. They're still up 3-1. So the game I think is the most devastating is the next game. The next game, the Yankees are ahead 4-2 in the 8th inning. A 4-2 lead, and they're going to put these guys away. Starts off a home run by Ortiz, a walk, a single, a sacrifice fly, and all of a sudden it is tied. Just like that. Another victory taken away from them because all the way down in the 14th inning, it ends with a single, and now it's 3-2. The Yankees aren't heartbroken because of these 2 losses because they're going home. They're going home to finish off the Red Sox. Here's the problem. The last 2 games, they lost 4-2 and 10-4. So this is kind of a retro pain. When it's all over and you're sitting there saying, how did that happen? You go back to the stolen base. You go back to the blown 4-2 lead, and that lingers with you. This is a series they should have won and did not. That's loss number 5. It gets worse. Worse for the loser, right? 1985. Competition between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals. An interstate rivalry. And the Cardinals are ahead 3-2. They're 3 outs from winning the World Series. And this is really wild what happened. The first batter up, guy by the name of Jorge Orta, not going in the Hall of Fame, folks, hit a ground ball and was thrown out at first. And the video will show it wasn't close, except he was called safe. Now, it's only a 1-0 game, and you're 3 outs from winning the World Series, and this guy should be out, but he's not. So the inning gets prolonged, and we end up 2 outs, runners on second and third, still a 1-0 lead, and a single wins the game for Kansas City. There should have been 3 outs. The Cardinals should have a World Series victory, and they don't. The next game, of course, the Royals win 11-0, all because of a bad umpire call. And the people in St. Louis, I'm sure, don't want to see anything about this. But that picture of Orta, the first baseman, has the ball and his foot is not close to first yet, but he was called safe. And it actually cost the Cardinals a World Series victory. Well, that's number 4. How bad does this get? Number 3 is another classic crazy game. It's Game 6 of the 1986 World Series, the Mets and the Red Sox. And we actually are in extra innings when this happens. The Red Sox go in to the bottom of the 10th inning with a 5-3 lead, and they get the first 2 men out. Okay, they are 1 out away from winning the World Series. 2 singles, and then a third single went on 2 strikes. Ray Knight was down to the last strike. Red Sox are 1 strike from being World Series champions, a single, and the score's 5-4. And then, of course, the famous Mookie Wilson situation. The Red Sox has 2 strikes on him. Wild pitch, ground ball error, Mets win. The Mets win Game 7, and the Red Sox look at this. You're watching this game. 2 strikes on 2 different batters. They are 1 strike away, and I can see the fans sitting there saying, 1 more strike, 1 more strike, oh, a single. It's okay. Mookie Wilson's up. 1 more strike, 1 more strike, wild pitch. And then a ground ball and the game ends. So forever, the Red Sox have to think about the fact that they were 1 strike away 2 times from winning a World Series. Well, that's my third one. Wait till you hear the second one. The second one, interestingly enough, occurred in the exact same year. In 1986, the Angels and the Red Sox were playing in the American League Championship Series. And what a lot of people have forgotten is the Red Sox were down and out. They never should have gotten to the World Series against the Mets. They were down 3-1 in game number, 5. They were going to lose this game. And the Angels had them. 5-2 lead in the 9th. Single, strikeout, home run, 5-4. But then another out. A hit by pitch, 5-4, man on first, 2 outs, and the Angels are 1 out away from eliminating the Red Sox. Dave Henderson comes up to the plate. The Angels bring in their big closer, Donnie Moore was his name. You guessed it. Home run. Red Sox take the lead. Even though the Angels tied it in the bottom of the 9th, the game was decided in extra innings. And the Angel fans look back because, of course, they lost the next 2 games by not close scores. They look back at Game 5. 5-2 lead. Once again, 2 outs. And Donnie Moore gives up a 2-run homer to Dave Henderson. You won't get over that stuff. Peter, those are horrible stories. I'm depressed. Wait to hear number 1. 2011. Texas Rangers versus St. Louis Cardinals. Game 6 of the World Series. Bottom of the 9th. Rangers are up 7-5. A strikeout, a double, a walk. First and second, another strikeout. So we have 2 on, 2 outs, a 1-2 count. Fly ball to right field. Everybody's seen this. Nelson Cruz chasing it down. And for some reason, you guys make your own decision. It seems to me like he could have reached a little bit further. It seemed like a catchable ball. It didn't get caught. Up against the wall for a triple. The game is now tied. Well, if that isn't heartbreaking enough, it gets worse. In the 10th inning, the Rangers score 2 more runs. They now are ahead 9-7. And they have another chance to win the World Series. So what happens is single sacrifice bunt, a ground out. So what's happened here, the score is now 9-8. The tying runs on base, and they walk Albert Pujols, which is probably a good deal, to face a guy by the name of Lance Bergman. You're not going to believe this. 2 strikes again. They had this in the 9th inning. And on 2 strikes, a single up the middle ties the game. Their heart's been ripped out 2 times. Later on in the game, home run by the Cardinals wins the game, and then the Cardinals win the last game comfortably. So for that one, the ultimate heartbreak, the Texas Rangers were within 1 strike of winning the World Series 2 different times and didn't come away with it. So hats off to them and the Ranger fans for having to endure what I consider the most heartbreaking loss in the history of baseball. So that's sports. It will break your heart more often than you get joy. And this is Rounding Third for today. Have a great day, folks.